All right, so I've been getting a lot of questions about this truck, in particular the engine swap that was done on it. Figured it'd be easiest just to do a FAQ, otherwise known as a FAQ. Just basically some details and information on what the swap from the 5.3 to the 6.2 entailed. First question I usually get, and let me clarify something before I start on this. This information really only applies from a 5.3 to a 6.2 engine swap from 2008 to 2013 models of this truck. That'll include the GMC Sierra and the Chevy Silverado. They're essentially the same truck. I really don't know any information in regards to any other generations of this vehicle. I haven't worked on them. This is pretty much my only experience with this. This information will take you on a walk with my journey and maybe give you some tips on what could help you if you try and do this yourself. And I'm sorry if this wind is noisy as fuck. Picked a bad day to do this, but hopefully it's not too bad. Anyhow, first question, how much did it cost? Well, unfortunately, the cost for me was about 15 grand because I was raped by 2 shady businesses. I'll be putting a link in the description to a video we made explaining all of that. If it was done correctly the first time, the cost would have been significantly less at about 9 grand. That's taking into consideration that the swap was done ourselves. We didn't have a shop do it. If a shop had done the swap, it'd have been considerably more expensive with all the labor. Next question I get about this is, was it difficult to do? And the answer to that is not really. Everything from the 5.3 is pretty much compatible with the 6.2. The only things that were changed out were the timing components, and the ECU always needs to be reflashed after doing a swap like this. The research on this was the most difficult part. That's why I decided to make a video of the swap. That way others who might be having the same struggles to find the information I have found would have a source to look to maybe make their struggles just a little bit easier. I'll put some links in the description of this video to forum posts that I found helpful, and then if you want to chat with me, I'll give you a link to the Facebook page directly. The other question people ask me about this truck is what kind of performance gains did I get out of doing this swap? I actually don't have that information just yet. The horsepower and the torque numbers I'm hoping to get should be about 420 horsepower. I'm not sure about the torque yet. I'm hoping to get it on the dyno within the next month or so. I'll give you an update on what I actually get at that point in time. But I do know what my 0 to 60 times were and how they've changed. With the 5.3, 0 to 60 was 8.20 seconds. Now after the swap, I'm down to 6.06 seconds, so a full 2.14 seconds faster. As well as the gas mileage on E85 is actually virtually the same, which I found to be absolutely incredible. So we just got done filling up at Quick Trip, and we put exactly 15.057 gallons on E85, as is clearly indicated by the receipt. We also just got done with approximately 2-hour cruise, and today we totaled 137.4 miles. So we are going to figure out exactly how many miles per gallon we get with E85. 137.4 miles divided by 15.057. We're at 9.1213 miles per gallon. So here's proof. 192.3 is my mileage. This is what it cost me to fill up. So I got 20.722 gallons. And then handy dandy calculator on my phone does the mileage for me, and I'm getting 9.28 miles per the gallon on E85. And just to prove it to you, on the top it says E85. So in spite of the fact that it's a 6.2 and that it's cammed out and tuned for performance, the gas mileage isn't all that terrible, especially considering E85 is cheap. Another question I typically get is, was it worth it? Well, with all the bullshit from bad business pushed aside, I would say absolutely. Anyone who has replaced an engine before could definitely do this swap. Figuring out the timing components might be a challenge, but that's what makes this stuff fun. Just going through and figuring out what will work best for your particular build, you know, doing the research, because everybody wants theirs to perform just a little bit differently or have different applications. Some people might need it for towing, some people just want the speed for like down the track or drag racing. Some people actually want to drive their vehicles.
First, completely legal drag racing.
Exactly.
Never illegal drag racing.
Oh, never. So here's pretty much the cost breakdown to everything after it's all said and done. First of all, we got a low mileage engine. That's where we took a trip to Omaha, got that for $4 grand. The guy who raped me did the initial cam install and VVT delete. That was $2,800. And then his ECU reflash and retune. Well, this was the next guy who did that, right? Both of them. Well, a combination of being double teamed cost me another $1,200. It's got a Circle D 3000 stall triple disc torque converter in there for $1,300. The fun stuff, including having a professional do a street tune, that cost us about $600. Redoing the cam install, including valve springs, push rods, lifters, roller rockers, etc. That was about $2 grand. And then of course there's all the fun stuff that you like to upgrade with a build like this. That includes the exhaust system at $1,200, suspension at brakes at $1,500, and upgrading the stock rockers to roller rockers costs $650. Just a side note here, the exhaust system is long tube headers, no cat, true dual 2¼ inch pipe, and a Flowmaster Super 40 series muffler. Then I have 410 gearing in the front and rear. It still does 130 miles per hour and cruises at 2,300 RPM at 75 miles an hour.
And yes, I have four-wheel drive, you dumb fucks. When I got the 410 gearing installed, they recommended that we do just one set first, so just the rear, to make sure that we like it instead of doing the front and rear diffs. So they thought that I gave up my four-wheel drive.
To be fair, they were kind of correct.
For about 2 weeks.
We temporarily gave up our four-wheel drive.
For like 2 weeks.
Yeah, but it's all put together, correct gearing in front and back. Four-wheel drive works fine.
And it launches.
Yeah, it launches amazing with four-wheel drive. Little list of words of wisdom I have here. First of all, do not cheap out on anything. Buy high-end parts and do it right the first time. You don't want to end up getting half-ass parts put in here and having to replace them with more expensive stuff later on the line. It'll make your build so much more expensive in the long run. Second, have a reputable business tune-in. Don't get railed like I did. There are people out there that'll just fuck you over, and you don't want that. Pay out the real money for the guys who legitimately know what they're doing. Again, that'll save you in the long run. Lastly, trust your intuition. If you feel something isn't right, check it. You will definitely be glad you did. Everything in here was pretty much a direct bolt-on swap. So it looks completely stock still. If you look down here, probably the clearest shot I have of the long tube headers. Got the fiberglass wrap on there to make sure the engine bay stays cooler. Cold air intake, and even the stock engine cover. And all the accessories went on there too, so the belt, air conditioning pump, alternator, power steering pump, all that is a direct match for the 6.2 from the 5.3. So everything just directly bolted right up to it. An engine swap really couldn't be much easier than this. Right in there is the tranny cooler. And if you come down here, you can see some of the custom lines that we had to run for it. Definitely buy one. With the upgraded torque converter, even with this cooler, we're seeing temps that start to approach the upper limits of what the transmission can handle. Most of the time we're looking at 185, but I've seen it just a hair over 190 on a really hot day. doing a lot of stop and go driving, but still, that's nothing to worry about. If we didn't have this, I would not doubt that the transmission would have been burned up by now. These stickers on the side are not just for looks. They are temporary. They were for that event, the Cannonball Fun Charity Rally. Unfortunately, we did not get to go because that was the week that we found out we had a busted transmission pump. So unfortunately, it took too long to get that repaired and we did not get to participate. We did get to go to the after event, but certainly not as fun as actually being in the actual rally. Another thing I want to show off here is these are drilled and slotted rotors, even painted the caliper. These are 22-inch chrome rims, and these are 305 40 R22 tires on here. These are gonna hook up like crazy, and I felt it. I synced it. At some point in time, I'll do a conversion from the drum brakes to disc brakes in the back. They just function better. The springs under here are flipped for the lowering conversion. Yeah, you say it. You know it better than me.
It was dropped 4 inches in the front and the back. In front, the springs are 2-inch drop springs with 2-inch drop spindles, and it was mostly for handling that we did that. It hasn't been that much of an issue. I know people give me shit for lowering a 4-wheel drive truck, but it works for me, so.
Yeah, we needed the handling for when we're cruising at 130 miles an hour. Power Cruise is coming up. I think we'll make that.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we still have plans of putting the supercharger on here. And then for the last point of criticism, why wouldn't we just buy a truck with a 6.2 in it already?
Well, let's show you.
One of the features of this truck is the fact that it's a handicap conversion. So what they do with these handicap conversions is they take an already stock truck and then they put in a lift. And this one happens to have a passenger side lift. They do come in driver's side. Unfortunately, the lift is very slow, but better than nothing. It is possible to get this upgraded to something faster. It could be up to twice as fast even. So that's it fully extended, and that's what allows wheels to actually go for a ride in this. Do you get the 6.2 in a conversion like this?
I've only seen one.
How much did you get this thing for?
50.
Yeah, so even with all the money we had spent on it, even if you had gotten a shop to do the engine swap for you, even in spite of the fact that you got raped, it's cheaper to put a modified cammed out 6.2 than buying one already converted with a 6.2 in it. And here's a little preview of the latch system. This locks them into position, but we'll be doing another video on that. So that's pretty much all there is to be said in this thing. Thanks for watching.